The nuclear weapons disposal facility on Shadow Moses Island in Alaska's Fox Archipelago.
Forgot to unmute the mic. Welcome back, folks, to Metal Gear, History of Gaming Metal Gear Solid 1. PlayStation 1 title here. Fantastic game. Got a question in chat here. How likely do you think it is to happen that Konami will make remastered version for PlayStation 4 and current generation systems? I don't know. I really don't know. To be quite frank, I think if... So here's the reason why I have a hard time answering that question. Konami is so off the rails. It's hard for me to really be able to predict what they're doing. I will say that there was a lot of remake activity before the launch. I would rather say shortly after the launch of Metal Gear Solid 4. So long before the launch of Metal Gear Solid 5. They were doing the HD collection. They ported Peace Walker. They had the Legacy collection. They were reprinting a lot of Kojima's works. Police Knots gets a remake, I think. Zone of the Enders gets an HD collection. A lot of Konami titles under Kojima got these really good HD remake versions. I don't know. Metal Gear Survive left a really bad taste in a lot of people's mouths and caused a lot of animosity for Konami. So here's my thought process. At this point, year's 2018, for those of you watching this in the future, it's May 2018. There's a few options for Konami. Konami could continue to do, we don't give a shit what people say or think, we're just going to keep trying to make money, right? If they do that, I see them porting, albeit probably poorly, Metal Gear Solid 1, and I don't think they'll get a Twin Snakes version of it. They'll probably just remake Metal Gear Solid 1 on their own, using probably the Metal Gear Solid 5, the Fox engine. Or Konami is once bitten, twice shy on the whole situation because of Metal Gear Survive, so they just don't touch Metal Gear anymore. I don't know. It's a toss-up. Konami makes decisions that just don't make sense to me, so it's hard for me to predict what their next move is. But I hope Konami sees an opportunity here with the ex-Silicon Knights creators. Because there's for Twin Snakes in particular here, there's some licensing weirdness, right? You got to get Silicon Knights, you got to get Konami, and you got to get Nintendo to all play ball. Based on the way that he phrases things in that comment that he made, this version, it sounds like Nintendo and Silicon Knights, whoever it's, because Silicon Knights ain't around anymore because of Too Human, which we'll probably cover at some point in the history of gaming. Whoever holds the rights for it on Too Human or on Silicon Knights side, it sounds like they're willing to play ball with each other. Nintendo and ex-Silicon Knight employees are willing to make this happen, or he wouldn't have mentioned the Nintendo Switch, right? So he already knows a system that it could come out for. So that makes me feel like the one person, and he says it's a maybe, which means somebody hasn't signed on yet. So he's the one making the comment. He mentions the Switch. That tells me Silicon Knights, ex-Silicon Knights, Nintendo are all on board, and the third party that isn't on board is Konami. It'd be smart for Konami just to say, yeah, go ahead and make Twin Snakes again for the Switch, because they don't have to do anything. Let somebody else produce it, let somebody else publish it so that it ends up on Nintendo's system. They just throw a little bit of money at it. You know, they're only half investing, and then boom. This gets relaunched for the Switch. And here's kind of the silver lining on it, right? Konami's got a bunch of hate. It won't be Konami making it. It'll be somebody else. So people won't auto-hate a Metal Gear game coming out because it wasn't from Konami. But Konami will make money off of it. I think it's just a good decision on Konami's part for them to do it. We'll see if they actually do. So, Metal Gear Solid here, we're going to be doing not a full playthrough on this version. We will be doing a technical review, and really what that means is I want you guys to see the graphics and the gameplay and kind of see what was available at that point in time in 1998 when little gamer is sitting down with his video game and he's pulling out the black-backed disc of the PlayStation 1 and popping it in the tray and closing the lid and turning it on for the first time. This is what you got to deal with here. So some options here. We got mono and stereo sound, which was a big deal back then. Vibration on and off for your controller. Vibration test. A weak one and a strong one. That was kind of cool. We can do some screen setups. This was the way you did screen setups back then. You didn't change the game. You changed your TV around it. Key configuration. Oh, that's kind of cool. Now remember, what we're following up from here is Metal Gear 2 Solid Snake, the game that we just played in the last episodes. This is what's going on. There's a briefing section that allows you to go in and get some extra footage of why Snake gets pulled in. Now I want you guys to be able to see a little bit of this. We won't listen to too much of it, but
It's been a long time, Snake.
this is still screens. These are like screenshots of the briefing. This is on the Twin Snakes version. But it looks a little different. Pretty cool though. I want them to bring it to PS4 because I don't want to pay for another system just for Twin Snakes Remastered. It will not. Twin Snakes will not go to PlayStation 4. That I can say with certainty because Metal Gear Solid 1, this right here, is owned by Konami, and I believe printing rights are still active for Sony, but the title and the technology involved with Twin Snakes is printing rights to Nintendo. Nintendo will not give up to Sony their printing rights for Twin Snakes. So your best hopes of getting a PlayStation 4 Metal Gear Solid 1 will not be the Twin Snakes version. It will have to be a remaster or a port of the original Metal Gear Solid, and you'll get into some legal issues there if that happens, because you'll have to make sure that you differentiate it from Twin Snakes so that they can't say that they're copyright infringing on Twin Snakes over on Nintendo's side, which means the things that got added in on Twin Snakes you won't be able to add in on a PlayStation 4 remake of Metal Gear Solid. For example, and we'll see this when we get into the Twin Snakes version, being able to do pull-ups to get better grip strength, probably the first person aiming that they imported from Metal Gear Solid 2, stuff like that.
Colonel.
It's acting weird. Hold on. But yeah, Twin Snakes won't be on PlayStation 4. I'll be completely surprised if they ever did that. Let's see what's under special previous operations. This is a section you can go into the game and read up about Metal Gear and Metal Gear 2 Solid Snake. This was how they got you caught up, because they do in this game talk a lot about the Zanzibar Land incident. VR training, new game, load game. So let's do new game. We'll throw it on easy just so that we can get to this technical review very quick. And we won't be spending a lot of times on the cinematics for this version because our experience with the story will be in full on Twin Snakes. So we'll skip this.
This is Snake. Colonel.
Get through this real quick. Alright, so here we go. Good look at the graphics here. Alright, so this is at a point in time where I'm gonna have to play over here because the delay's too bad on the screen here. So that's gonna be the case all day. I need to do this, so it looks like I'm looking at the TV. Look at that. Haha. So this is at a point with the PlayStation where there are the DualShock is not out yet. It's just a PlayStation 1 controller. That means you have to use the D-pad to play this game. And they make it look different if you're underwater, which is real cool. You have an O2 bar there that pops up automatically. Pretty interesting. Over here. Checking some things out. Right? We got items here, other items here. Of course, you can keep the ration equipped so that you don't die. So, I wanted to point out that in this version, pressing circle does your punches. You do punch, punch, kick. You got a bit of a combo, which is kind of cool. But do note that it's punch, punch, kick. We automatically go to first person mode when we crawl under things. This is very cool. You can press triangle to go into first person mode so that you can see ahead of yourself. You can lean up against walls and creep. And if you notice right here that you got a bare wall. Oh no. Sneaky snakes.
What was that noise?
You heard some water. You heard me step in the water. And footprints being able to give away your location based on what you step on. Definitely something we saw in Metal Gear 2. Like steel-plated flooring.
What was that noise?
Snuck onto the elevator. Alright. And I want you guys to experience this scene in its glory.
It's Snake. I'm in front of the disposal facility.
Excellent, Snake. Age hasn't slowed you down one bit.
How's that sneaking suit working out?
I'm nice and dry, but it's a little hard to move.
Bear with it. It's designed to prevent hypothermia. This is Alaska, you know.
Take it easy, I'm grateful. If it weren't for your suit and your shot, I would have turned into a popsicle out there.
An anti-freezing peptide, Snake. All of the genome soldiers in this exercise are using it.
I see. I'm relieved to hear that. Already tested, huh? By the way, how's the diversionary operation going?
2 F-16s just took off from Galena and are headed your way. The terrorist radar should have already picked them up.
Behind D. Colonel, what's a Russian gunship doing here?
I have no idea, but it looks like our little diversion got their attention. Now's your best chance to slip in unnoticed. There are only 18 hours left until their deadline. You've got to hurry.
Wow, you must be crazy to fly a hind in this kind of weather.
Who's that?
Oh, sorry. I haven't introduced you to yet. This is Mei Ling. She was assigned to us as our visual and data processing specialist. She designed your codec, as well as your Soliton radar system. Contact her if you have any questions about either of them.
Nice to meet you, Snake. It's an honor to speak to a living legend like yourself. What's wrong?
Nothing. I just didn't expect a world-class designer of military technology to be so cute.
You're just flattering me.
No, I'm serious. Well, I know I won't be bored for the next 18 hours.
Come on. I can't believe I'm being hit on by the famous Solid Snake. But I'm surprised. You're very frank for a trained killer.
Looks like we both have a lot to learn about each other.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to learning about the man behind the legend. But first, let me explain about your Soliton radar system. The bright dot in the middle is you, Snake. The red dots are your enemies, and the blue cone shape represents their field of vision. Be careful, Snake.
Okay. So that's a pretty good review of this portion. What I wanted you guys to make sure that you heard was Mei Ling's voice. It is very thick Chinese accent, which
Snake, your radar.
which does change in not only Metal Gear Solid Twin Snakes, but we also see her come back from Metal Gear Solid 4 later in this series, where her voice sounds a little bit more American and not so heavily accented like that. So some interesting choices.
Get in. There's the front door. It's the fastest way, but there's too much risk of being spotted by the enemy.
I can't just knock on the door and ask them to let me in. There's one sentry on the left and one on the right. They're armed with 5.56ers and pineapples.
What about the air duct near the door?
Now the game is controlling this portion, and it's basically showing you how you can use first-person view to scout out an area, figure out how you're going to tackle the mission before you actually get into it. Alright, now we are in control. Oh, I forgot, I have a delay. Oh god! Staff grenade. Okay, so we just picked up the SOCOM. And got killed. I'm trying to grab the SOCOM real quick so that we can take a look at how aiming works in this version. Alright, so that's it right there. That's how you aim a gun in this game. You can't ADS. Can't do anything other than that. Point it in a straight line. But it does have a laser sight. You also can't move while holding this gun. And that's what it's like to drop somebody. Alright, with that being said, this will be the end of the technical review of Metal Gear Solid 1 on the PlayStation 1. What we'll do now is switch over Metal Gear Solid Twin Snakes. I do ask for you guys to be patient momentarily while I go ahead and get that set up. It will take only a moment.